Good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to the Joseph Song Show. And now we have his very special guest today. His name is David Brown. David Brown is a close friend of mine. We met freshman year, I believe. I did not request a specific roommate or anything. I didn't know anybody that was
Shit.
going, and I guess destiny put us together. So, David,
Yeah.
would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm David Brown. I'm a friend of Joe Song. I'm an econ major and a screenwriting minor because I want to do screenwriting, but I want to have a job. And that's a brief summary of me.
What a great introduction. Now, David, I want to open this up a bit, okay?
Sure.
So, we're in quarantine. Everything's, really boring, sometimes sad, sometimes really irritating. However, I like to go back and think about the times that we've had these past 3 years now, I believe, almost four now. Um, so we've had a lot of, adventures during our time at Purchase. Uh, would you like to tell a story, um, something that happened to you on campus or off campus? It doesn't have to be specifically in the school year. It doesn't even have to be even between us, but um, just any story. Honestly, at this point, any story that brightens up the mood a bit during this chaotic time.
I got a story about me and my father bonding, kind of, but like not. But like I guess we bond.
Okay.
So I certainly have a story. Basically, I think it was summer. Oh my god, that's so horrible to think. Yeah, it was first semester. Well, no, after my second semester, my freshman year summer, basically, I had mentioned going on a road trip across America. And my father was like, that sounds great. I'd love to do that. Like, we should do that together. And I was like, sure, let's do that. That sounded great. One thing to note, I'm a nerdy guy. I like to play my video games. I like to go on YouTube. I like to just do nothing for long periods of time, basically. And so the road trip was 2 days after I got back from school. And my mentality was like, you know what? Okay, I'll push all my homework aside. No, the exact opposite. I'll do all my homework. When I get home, I play video games for as long as I want. I could just do nothing for the summer. I'll get a job, but I'll also do nothing. And so then basically, I, I come home and I'm there for 2 days, and my dad's like, okay, we're gonna be sleeping in a tent for the next month. And I'm like, okay, this is exactly what I imagined doing by summer. And so we go on this road trip, and basically we're going kind of along like the northern states. We go from New York State, we're going to Michigan, and then a whole bunch of states I don't really remember the names of, South Dakota, and then as far as we go leftward, or as normal people call it, west, we go all the way to Colorado. And so we start this road trip, and the first few days, things are pretty good, right? I mean, I'm really freaking tired because I had my sleep schedule was out of whack, and I'm practicing driving on this road trip, which is really fun because me driving scares the shit out of my father, and so and so like I'm driving and like there's parts where I'm kind of like falling asleep at the wheel because I was like very tired. But the first few days basically pretty chill. We're like driving through the northern states. There's a lot of trees, a lot of things. We stop in Michigan. We visit some friends of ours. Things are pretty good. We're staying in hotels a lot. And then we get to South Dakota and things start to get a little they're different. We're sleeping in tents more often, and I'm not too crazy about the tents. I'm not too crazy if I find it a little boring. There's not much to do, but it's okay. The first place we camp outside, we were visiting national parks. We go to the Black Hills. No, we go to the Badlands first. I'm pretty sure the Badlands are in South Dakota. Badlands are beautiful. They're hot AF. We just drove around in the car with the AC the whole time. We did like a few hikes. And then we go to South Dakota and we're having some differences. I didn't, I forget what it was. I was like talking about stuff, but I was having some like disagreements with basically what I wanted the trip to be. And those were all kind of coming to a head, and like they just kind of like kept building and they kept mounting, and eventually I talked to my dad. I was like, because my father had mentioned before, if you don't want to do the whole thing, you can just let me know. And so I kind of let him know. I was a little homesick. I hadn't really been there that much. And I talked to him, and he seemed a little bummed about that. He was kind of, he didn't really like that, but we agreed to, I'd stay the night, and I'd figure it out from there, how I wanted to go home, what I wanted to do. And we spent the night, and the night wasn't really that great. So there was a huge storm coming through, and we were going to stay at Mount Rushmore, and we were sleeping in this campsite. It was a beautiful place, but it was really shiitake. That's a mushroom, not a curse word. And, like, the bathroom didn't have a light in it, so if I wanted to go to the bathroom, if I want to make number 2 in the middle of the night, that would be very difficult. And the door didn't lock, so someone could just burst into me. And worst of all, there was a huge thunderstorm. And so we're sleeping in a tent in a huge thunderstorm, and it's just like, it's rough, it's tough. There's like, basically, 5 seconds wouldn't go by where like the whole tent wouldn't light up, because like, there's nothing stopping that from happening, because it's made out of freaking cloth. And so like, I'm stressed out, I'm hating this, I'm like, meh. But I'm also having like really dark thoughts, because I want like, so my dad's a really tough person. He's really like, he's strong, he's from old Brooklyn, like he's built on hardships. I'm not that kind of person. I'm like kind of a little weak sometimes. Sometimes I just want to like sleep and like get my Wi-Fi, play my video games, do my things. I don't want to sleep in a tent for like 3 days straight. And so basically, I'm sitting there in the tent, I'm like, man, I hope like a tree falls on me so I can be like, oh man, this is so horrible. I want to go out there and be like, I want to be tough, and I'm gonna like, but then like the actual thunderstorm starts, and it's absolutely terrifying. And so then the next day happens, and like we're getting into like arguments, and I'm like, I just want to go for a walk. And he's like, because I wanted to leave, and I was like, I just need like some time to walk and think. And he was like, okay, fine, just go. It's like kind of an argument. And I go for a walk, and I'm like thinking about what I want to do, and I'm walking in this straight direction, and it's up a hill. And I keep walking. I walk for about 5 minutes, and then I turn around, and like suddenly I'm on top of a mountain. And I was like, how the hell did this happen? And I'm looking around, and it's like, it's beautiful. We're in the Black Hills in South Dakota. It's right near Mount Rushmore. It's freaking beautiful here. And I'm like, why aren't we hiking? Why are we just camping out and having like bad experiences instead of just like hiking and enjoying the beauty of this place? And then like maybe we'll spend time on like some shiitake hotel. And so I come down and I tell my dad that, and I was like, let's go on a hike. Let's do things. And so we went on a hike, and we hashed this out. We're like, okay, look. I'm like, I don't really want to spend the entire time in a campsite. And he was like, okay, we won't do that. And so we started staying in hotels, and we started camping out some of the time, hoteling at the other. And frankly, it was beautiful. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I went through it. And we had some rough patches. Like there was one time he got really mad at me because I didn't make him a sandwich, and that was fun. Basically, I'll sum up that story quickly. So like we're online for this one thing. It's called like the Furnace, and so I have some anxiety. I overthink things a lot, and my dad's waiting online. I go, Dad, I'm gonna make a sandwich. He goes, okay. And I'm getting there. I'm making my sandwich. I'm like, oh, if my dad wanted a sandwich, he would have asked me for it. He probably wants breakfast stuff for breakfast. And then I come back, and he's like, where's my sandwich? And I'm like, uh-oh. And we're online with people behind us. And my dad's like, he gets really angry at me because I didn't make him a sandwich. And he's like, dude, if you weren't my son, we'd be rolling on the ground right now, like fist fighting. And I'm sitting there. And part of it, in hindsight, it's really funny because, like, that's just the way I see, like, hard things. I'm like, LOL, that's funny. Instead of being, like, at the therapist, like, oh my god, my dad threatened me over a sandwich. But it's also funny because we were online, and, like, in that situation, you expect other people to do things, and no one did anything. Like, people were just sitting there watching this dad get really mad at his son, and no one was like, yeah, I'm not intervening in that. And then the other time, this was after the rest of the thing, which honestly it was like really beautiful and it was really nice to see the country. So much of this country is just freaking cows grazing. It's a little disappointing. Like, you just drive for miles and miles and miles and it's just pastures and cows, and you're like, why is there so much cows and no people? But anyway, second time. Okay, I'm going to try to tell this a little briefer. This was a few days before we were about to get back to New York State, and we're at this like Best Western, and they got a pancake machine, and things just keep messing up with me in the pancake machine. First, I'm going to the pancake machine, someone cuts in front of me. They get their pancakes. Then I go back to the pancake machine. There's no more pancake batter. And then I wait 5 minutes. Someone refills the pancake batter. I hit the button. I'm waiting on my pancakes. I walk up there, and there's this freaking fat guy with suspenders stealing my pancakes. And I'm sitting there, and I'm
what
gonna
did you
walk
do?
up to him, and I'm gonna say, "Hey, dude, you're stealing my pancakes." But then I think I have one of the most darkest thoughts of my life, and I'm like, "Hey, you just let him eat those pancakes." And then he's 2 pancakes closer to having a heart attack. And I go, "You know what? He can have the pancakes." And so then,
Oh, keep going.
and so then for the 4th time, I'm about to get up and attempt to make pancakes. And my dad goes, "Hey, can you make me some pancakes?" And then I make the mistake of sighing. And my dad cares a lot about loyalty. And he's a kind person, but he doesn't like it when you're not kind to him. He's like, "Oh, okay. So what about all the times I made you food? Huh? What about all those times?" And he like goes on this rant, and then I'm like, "Okay, I'll make you pancakes." And so I made him the pancakes, but he was still really mad at me. And that was the second argument. But that was like, he didn't know my side. I had to struggle for those pancakes. I probably killed someone in the process. But so then we went home, and I guess the overall moral of the story is if you have to put up with your parental BS, but you get to see half the country, I think you should probably do it.
So, I was supposed to meet up with David yesterday around 8:30ish around to do this assignment, this interview. So 7:30 rolls around. I message David. I say, where are you? He says he's driving down, and he goes upstate and on the weekends, then downstate. During the weekdays, or vice versa. It doesn't matter. It's a bit wonky. However, David, here's the part where you come in, okay?
Uh-oh.
So, David, would you mind telling me what you were doing for 4 hours? Because David did not get in touch with me, or he did get in touch with me throughout, every hour or so, but he would never give me a concise time when he would be back to do this interview. So around 8:30, he tells me, "Oh, I'm driving. I'll be there in like 30 minutes." Okay, that's fine. It is now 10:30 with no sign of David Brown. So David, would you please tell me what you were doing during those 4 hours?
Okay, so this story starts on the date of my birth, 1999, October 8th, and it's going to be very long. It's going to take a few hours at the least, and maybe a few days at the max. But so
David, would you
basically-
please tell us in a condensed form? Okay, thank you.
So basically, I've been like upstate a lot. My parents have a small, like basically trailer upstate, and it's kind of cramped. And I like a nice. No, this is actually the story, Joe. I see you laughing. How long is this supposed to be?
Until you finish the story, David.
Okay, so basically, it's a nice place, but it's kind of cramped, and I was getting a little like I wanted to change. And my birthday's coming up. And so I felt like, I can't really go down because my mother's birthday is the day after mine. And then I was like, you know what, screw it, we'll do it live. And I decided to go down at like 4:30. And so I pack out my car, I say my
so
goodbyes.
instead of 4 hours, it became 6 hours or 7 hours.
Yeah, and so I pack my car, I say my goodbyes, I eat food, and then I actually leave at 6:30. And see, the funny thing is, I don't have class on Monday. So Monday is basically my Sunday. And because of that, it didn't really occur to me that people who have like, I don't know, like a full-time job or something, when they go upstate, they come down Sunday night. And so I'm looking at the Google Maps, which is telling me how to get home in the fastest route, and it's saying, hey, bro, I know this will usually take like 2 hours. It's actually going to take 2 hours and 30 minutes. Another thing, I haven't been sleeping well, so I'm kind of tired. But I wasn't tired when I left. And so I leave 6:30, things are going fine. I make it to the highway. I'm kind of sleepy, but then I'm in traffic. and I'm sleepy in traffic, and I drive for the first hour, and I'm freaking like gripping the wheel. I'm like turning the light on in the car every like 20 minutes, and I have like a hat on so the light doesn't blind me because I'm trying not to fall asleep. So I feel really exhausted, and like I get like an hour into the drive, I pull over at a rest stop, and this has just been like, I don't even know if it was an hour in. It felt longer. I could check my phone and see, because this is probably the first time that I tried to call Joe. Or I at least texted him saying, I think I texted you, and I was like, hey, I should be home in like an hour or so. No, this was at 8. I'm pretty sure this was at 8:10. Yeah, this was at 8:10. Okay. 8:10, I text you, I'm driving. And I had stopped at a rest stop. Basically what I did, I bought like one of those. First of all, rest stop packed. There's like people everywhere. I was gonna go to McDonald's, it's packed. So I stop at the rest stop, I buy like a Stewart's coffee from a vending machine, a mocha, I down the whole thing, I'm good to go. This is at 8 p.m. I get back in the car, I start driving, I hit some more traffic. Before I hit the traffic, I stop, I go to Chipotle. Get some Chipotle, you know? Okay, that's not a curse word. I'll just say Chalupes. I go to Chalupes and I get some Mexican food to go. That was probably maybe 8:30. Anyway, back on the road, I'm making it, I'm gunning it. I get more traffic on the GW Bridge. We're right in Manhattan. We go into Manhattan. There's this thing, it's called the Hugh L. Carey Tunnel. It used to be called the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, but they changed the name to make things more confusing. For some reason, the direction that I was going from, the tunnel was closed. And so I go down the FDR Drive, I come back, and then I miss the turn, and now I'm just like raging. I'm punching my steering wheel. I'm like in a rage. I'm listening to like jazz music, and I turn it off because I'm so angry. And then I come back around the other way, and I actually get into the Hugh Carey Tunnel. I'm pretty sure this was around 9:30. Basically, I added time. I was feeling really good about myself too. I was like, man, we're gonna hit this tunnel. It's gonna be great. And then they block my way. Anyway, make it to the tunnel, make it down. We're going down the specific roads that I'm gonna name, like the Prospect Parkway, but Joe doesn't know what that is. And I finally make it to my house. And we're there. We're in beautiful Brooklyn. It's amazing. It's 10 out of 10, and there's no freaking parking. So I'm driving around for 30 minutes trying to find a parking spot. And then it's this time, I think I text Joe. I'm like, I think I said 30 minutes before I was in the tunnel. And then I'm like there at like 10:30. I'm in Brooklyn at, I'm pretty sure around 10. I'm driving around for 30 minutes trying to find a parking spot. I finally find one, I park, and then I find a better one like up 20 feet. I come back to my house, and it's like, I'm pretty sure it's 11. It's 10:45, and I call Joe, and I'm really proud of myself, and I'm cracking jokes, and Joe's really annoyed with me because he's been waiting 4 hours for an interview. And I'm thinking, man, Joe will laugh at these jokes, and he's not laughing. And I'm like, ooh, I made a mistake. And so anyway, I hit a boatload of traffic, and I made a lot of stops. That's why I was late.
No, you don't clap. I clap.
Oh, okay.
This is my interview. I'm in charge of this interview.
Oh, okay.
But
no, I don't have to be here.
Alright, well, while David has left the room, I would like to thank David. Oh, there he is. He's coming back. You can hear his breath.
You told me you gave me a $5 gift card to Applebee's is why I came back.
Well, maybe if you weren't 4 hours late, you probably would have gotten those $5. Woo! Wow. What a great... not a story, but multiple stories coming from David Brown.
I just had,
Hey, honestly, you took us through a journey. I'm sure that must have been a journey for you.
Oh, it was a journey.
And, yeah, I feel like that's all we have tonight on the Joseph Song Show. Thank you very much, David Brown, for coming by, telling us your story. It was
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was a very good story. Honestly, I felt kind of inspired. there's a good moral story at the end. We all have our differences and hardships, but we'll work it out together. And frankly,
Yeah.
I wish a lot of people out there would like to work it out instead of just dismissing the issue.
Yeah.
100%. But yeah, thank you for coming, Dave Brown. Really appreciate
Thank
your
you for
presence.
having
And yeah, I'll see you. I'll see you hopefully next semester.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right.
I know I'll be there. I know I'm allowed.